Welcome to Ellie Goldsmith's Relationship Flow. We are without my wonderful soulmate today on this special edition, being that we've had a little break for a few weeks. I was traveling on the Amuna Tour 2021. It was a almost 2-week tour. I meant to end up in the UK after being in Miami and New York with much success, thank God. But London ended up being cancelled because of Corona over there, and we thank God rescheduled to go back another few weeks to London. In the meanwhile, I've been home and was in no state to record a podcast with my soulmate, just being the fact that it was such an exhausting tour. Within about 2 weeks, we managed to reach out to thousands of people, and I just went through all the different aspects of the tour now on the back end, and there was a lot of impact. A lot of people were involved in a big way, and thank God we had a lot of classes, meetings and connections, emails, and I'm the kind of guy who follows up straight away, so I didn't really sleep much. Plus I was running all the social media before and after every event, a meeting, during, trying to keep things moving. So it was a lot of work, and it took me a bunch of days to get back to myself with the jet lag. In fact, last night didn't actually sleep a minute. Erev Shabbat this Friday, I was not able to do a session with my wife because we were just getting ourselves together. We've been going through a lot personally as well with the family, and being that this is all good stuff, a lot of growth, a lot of challenges, and also managing to also do the United Souls course. We had our second episode of series number 2 just last week, a really important episode about focusing on goals, dreams and visions. We've had that in the Relationship Flow podcast, and part of the Relationship Flow podcast is really being real with the reality that we're going through right now, rather than going into past stories or future stories that we hope will be good. We're trying to really be present in the flow of what, the divine flow, what the reality of our relationship is. And right now it's just been a bit of a balagan, so we're excited to get into some sort of flow again. We wrote in the we spoke about getting the flow back. We also wrote, we have the podcast aspect now in blog format, so you can go to our Relationship Flow podcast as well by Ellie Goldsmith over there. And my wife, soulmate Teeny Pops 613, aka Masha Goldsmith, please God, will be joining us again. And we did speak in the previous one about getting that flow back, and that's something which we're going to have to do again. And I think it's something within relationships, it's a constant process of getting the flow back. That's part of what this episode will be, is the constant process of beginning again and again. I mean, even in the cycle on a spiritual level, we have 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on. We've spoken about it in our intimacy series, and I recommend going back there to those previous classes. It wasn't so many episodes back. I'm just now scrolling down. If you would go back down, it's about, from around June time. So it was around 6, 7, 8 episodes back, because we have been able to do this weekly. I apologize again that the flow has been interrupted in terms of the podcast. But obviously in real life, in real time, when we're not podcasting, the reason is because we're actually living what we're teaching. And I think that's really important to remind people that real life is going to get in the way. I was just listening to Dr. Jordan Peterson and his podcast with his daughter as well, and some special guests. And he himself will also be off and on once he gets touring again. And that's part of the transition we're all going through with the Corona challenge, bringing us all different flows of time, being the fact that I couldn't make it to London this time, but I still did make a tour for a few weeks in the US, and hopefully we'll reorganize ourselves to make it to London. And then I have a Toronto tour online, thank God, and we also have our in-person classes here, which I'm going to be going back to my class tomorrow. You can join me live on Amuna is our future podcast, and check out all the previous classes we had on tour. It was interesting how, relationship-wise, being with the rabbi on tour and being with so many people and really seeing a lot of different relationship flows in Miami and New York, I got a lot of encouragement about how important it is to really try and be there, be more supportive. I mean, these are things I'm not so great at. My wife, thank God, is a very good role model in these aspects. and teaches me a lot of, how to be more empathetic, more validate, more present, more with validation, and all these kind of strengths that she has. Good listening. There's the stuff that, when you're in meeting with, hundreds of people in a few weeks, and you've got like a scheduled 15-minute meeting back to back throughout day after day. And not only that, with the class aspect during the class and after the class, and there's, the Kabbalah's cow of receiving the people, and that's another few hundred people at the end of the class, day after day. And it's pretty intense. And we had in Miami, we had in the morning a bunch of classes as well. So then we had to interact with another, like, say, 50 people or so each morning. Thank God, I'm very inspired by what happened on this trip, and the ability to organize something within a few weeks, which is the amount of time I had after Sukkot to get ready this trip, because it was always going to be a last minute plan based on the fact that, everything that's happened this last year and a half or so needed us to be more flexible with organization. And we only got the go-ahead a few weeks before, and we managed to make a trip. And once again, that's a big thank you to my soulmate, part of the relationship flow, that to have that supportive spouse to be able to do a successful project. It doesn't go without that. You're not going to be successful truly if there's not support from both sides of the couple, of the husband and wife or the soulmates. If they're not together with the support, and if there's not recognition of that support, then it's not really a truly successful project. It only becomes successful because there's an investment from the soulmate, from the children, the family around, the sphere of influence around, all the people in that sphere of circle of that person who's seemingly heading the project, all the people behind the scenes, the spouse or the children or the friends who are there to relieve a little bit of the stress and give that love and support, that warm, nourishing meal that night after a long day working, or when I came back, my wife, thankfully, and that would be our cover photo, came to pick me up from the airport with such a loving energy, and there was, a nice fizzy drink, my favorite pack of crisps. I don't know if you know what that is, or potato chips in the American English, but it was the salt and vinegar flavor that I managed to bring over here. All these kind of little touches, it makes such a difference. And so then your flow is on a different level, because you're feeling the love and support, and you're able to then shine it out further to the sphere of influence. Like tonight, we're going to go see our family, first time in a long time, our Israeli family, wife's family, who live here. I mean, they're originally not from Israel, from London, South Africa, but they've been living here for a long time. And it's just nice to get together finally. And we had to obviously do whatever we had to do to Corona story to be able to sit in a restaurant. And thankfully, I had my vaccine, so I don't have to worry about that. But the point is that it's a journey, this kind of stuff, and you have to appreciate those moments of togetherness and connection. And when you get that love and support, it's really needed. It really makes a difference. So even though I'm running on very little sleep, I feel like because of the love and support that's in my life. I had a smoothie this morning for my wife, and the homemade cookies, and throughout Shabbat, delicious food, and there's just so much love and support. And personally, emotionally, there's been a lot of challenges, and for my wife as well, just with the kids, and thank God they're doing much better than they have been, but it's still, with struggles and surprises, as all parents of teenagers in this generation would understand. And something to think about. One of the things we made an agreement on is that I would really turn off my phone for a certain amount of time every night, just to be really present. And I think something that now, like, I'm back from the tour, I need to do. And there is potential new tours, like Vanessa and Black coming up. He's doing a big winter tour, and I've already got a bunch of booking requests, and maybe I'll be more involved. But I'm going to actually hold back from getting more involved right now, because I need to just gather myself, get back, as we talked about, regrouping. So anyway, I'm going to finish off today, and with the hope that next session will be with my soulmate. This is more just an in-between one, just to remind you of everything going on in our relationship flow. I do recommend listening further back with the intimacy series and all the classes my soulmate joined me, because it just really was more grounded with her presence. And we hope the next relationship flow podcast will be together with her, and it will be able to really feel that full shlemus, that complete picture that she brings. In the meanwhile, I just want to remind you, we are in a special time spiritually. We're coming up to the month of Kislev and Hanukkah. It's been a bit of a challenging month this last month, but a good month. And we'd like to just wish everyone a healthy winter, and a lot of light is coming down into the world with Hanukkah, and to remind ourselves that whatever challenges and darkness we've been facing, there is the light at the end of the tunnel. There is going to be that big shepherd, that big divine abundance coming into our life, because we joined together. We managed to stick out the challenges and not give up, and hold together and inspire a lot of people on the way, and bring a lot of positivity and light into the world. And even though it has its challenges in the process, but to realize that the process is bringing us to a place of light and goodness and love, that the relationship will always have that, with those moments of intimacy and connection that's so deep and profound. You have to really believe in it and develop it and look forward to it and pray for it, and really pray with all your heart at night time for a certain amount of time, maybe, or even early in the morning. I did that this morning. I mean, the truth is I didn't really sleep, so I was praying a lot of the night just for a relationship. Put that investment in spiritually, emotionally, and physically, and we'll all see a lot of good relationship flows and process come back together. So this is our process relationship flow today, and it's with a lot of love to you and to yours. And please share your relationship flow so we can keep growing this wonderful opportunity of relationship flow. Love.